on this computer. There we go. Okay. Hello, this is Jess from Her Mood Mentor, and today I am meeting with one of my one-to-one clients, Lauren, and she's going to be telling us a little bit about her PMDD experience. Hi, Lauren.
Hi, Jess.
So excited to chat. So, would love for you to kind of paint the picture of what was happening in your life, like when the symptoms started, what they were, how long you were experiencing them, just kind of any details you're willing to share with us to kind of paint the picture of what you experienced with these
Yeah.
symptoms.
So my kind of PMDD journey or awareness started about a little over 3 years ago. I was about maybe a couple months postpartum when my cycle came back, and I started to notice something is off. I'm feeling different. I had postpartum depression, and for a little while I thought, okay, maybe things are kind of relating to that. But I reached this point where one day I was totally fine. I felt like my normal self. And the next day I was had intense suicidal ideation. I looked at my husband and I said, I'm not okay. My thoughts are really scary. Like I don't have intent, but I have these really intense and scary thoughts and out of nowhere. And it kind of that day started me down this journey to figure out, what was going on because it was really scary at first. So I went what I think is kind of the typical route. Tried there. I was in talk therapy. I did some SSRIs and never really found any relief. It always came back really cyclical. We moved close to family because I was really struggling. And it just got to the point where like I couldn't do daily life. I have two little kids, and it was just a struggle to even be off the couch for almost 2 week every 2 weeks was just almost impossible to, make breakfast, lunch, and dinner kind of function. So that is that's a little bit of my story, a little bit of background on me.
Yeah, so you were dealing with those symptoms for 2 weeks on top of having a
Mhm.
new baby. Was this before? This was the second baby after the second baby. So you
Yeah,
also had
second
a
baby.
toddler at the
Also had
same
a toddler
time.
at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it just looking back now, I knew I was struggling, but I didn't realize how much I was struggling and how it was affecting my life, even when I was not symptomatic. Just kind of that, like, I call it like PMDD, like hangover, almost trying to put things back together before the next shoe falls, if you will.
hmm Yeah, and were there any of these mood symptoms before the birth of your children, or they just really kind of came out?
Honestly, it was not until that second postpartum time that I was like, wow, this is intense. This is different. Yeah.
Yeah, just like whew, smacked you
Mhm.
upside the head there.
Yeah.
Um, so much at once. And so 2 weeks of symptoms, suicidal ideation, you're talking about
Mhm.
not being able to get through your day. Kind of, can you describe some more of the symptoms that were holding you back from just
Yeah.
functioning?
So definitely suicidal ideation, like this constant, these ruminating thoughts were like, it's almost like duality where I have a logical brain, like those thoughts are not normal. And that's just like to have to constantly tell yourself throughout the entire day, like you are okay, like these thoughts are going to pass is exhausting. And sometimes it was just like, I have to sit here and just sit. Some other symptoms that I experienced were like intense rage, like really big mood swings where I'd go from 0 to 10 or 0 to 25, and then very mad, very intense, loud yelling to crying and feeling so guilty about that reaction. As I started to get into the PMDD course and coaching with you, starting to track my symptoms, I definitely noticed some other things. But my most like severe symptoms and most reoccurring symptoms were rage and the suicidal ideation.
Yeah, yeah. So it's that intensity, especially when you're trying to
Mhm.
manage toddlers and babies, you're like, hey, we got somebody's got
They
to be
are
calm here.
they are irrational. So my irrationality was not the best blend.
Yeah, yeah. It's triggering, I'm sure, each other
Mhm.
constantly. So you had tried numerous other modalities, which were helpful in
Mhm.
some ways, but not quite getting
Yeah.
you where you wanted to be. So what was that turning point that made you initiate getting some specific help for these PMDD, severe premenstrual symptoms?
I think that like the straw that broke the camel's back, if you was looking at my life and seeing like where I wanted to be as a person, as a parent, and recognizing that what I was trying, it wasn't helping. It wasn't making the difference that I needed. One thing that I kind of discovered and we talked about in our coaching was that I really have the desire to homeschool my kids, and not being able to function just a daily life. I I couldn't even fathom, I couldn't envision homeschooling in that state that I was in. And so that was like my husband and I had a conversation of like, what are we doing? Like, what, our little one's almost old enough for school. Like, what's going to be the plan? And my heart said, oh, I really want to try to homeschool. And I was like, I don't know if mentally, if I can do it. I need to find something that can help me get there.
Mm. Yeah, so it was really that turning point of like, yes, this is impacting my daily life, but now it's really
Mhm.
starting to impact my plans for the future, my children's
Yeah.
future, and what I want for them. And like that's so often where that crux point comes. Like we can tolerate all
Yeah.
of the suffering, we can soldier through, but when it starts having an impact on those closest to us, that's where so many of us have to draw
Mhm.
the line. Um,
Yeah.
and so you decided, hey, okay, I need to find another way. I'm going to start experimenting. Um, and we jumped in. We were working through the PMDD rehab course. We were doing one-to-one work together with nutritional therapy and coaching. So what changed, if anything, what changed for you during that process?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely learned so much about the menstrual cycle, about myself. Um, I think that the course and the coaching like together was so beneficial for me because if I had questions, I could like you were there to answer them and kind of guide me through. I've seen an amazing reduction in symptoms. I think my first session with you, I said, if I see a 5% reduction in symptoms, I will consider that a success. And my last session, I had 2 days of very mild symptoms compared to 10 days of extreme symptoms when I first started with you. And that is amazing in itself. But the relationship that I have with my kids, the relationship that I have with my husband, with myself, those have all changed in a very positive direction as well. I'm crying about it.
I know. I feel like I remember our last session. You're crying. I'm crying. We're like
Yeah.
happy crying, sad crying. That 5% that you were really
Yeah.
aiming for. And then we saw because we're collecting all this data, right? The 10 days, the 2 days, from like 10 or more days of moderate to severe symptoms
Mhm.
to down to 2 days of mild. But then we also saw the charts where you reduce your symptom burden by
Yeah.
215 points. So we could actually see real among other metrics that we were tracking, just real hard numbers, because often that's like the first measurable thing. The relationship
Mhm.
improvements and some of that starts becoming more clear later, but that's what you wanted, right?
Yeah.
Yes, you wanted to reduce the symptoms, but you wanted to reduce the symptoms to have a better life with your family. That was really the why. And so the fact that you're doing that is
Yeah.
just so amazing. Um, what do you feel like in the process benefited you the most or really helped you move the needle from kind of trying things and not really feeling like you were getting somewhere to trying something new and feeling like, wow, I
Yeah.
actually can see changes?
I think that there was like an added layer of accountability. Like I had tried not a PMDD specific course, but like I'd tried courses, like self-help courses, if you will, before, but having a PMDD specific was obviously very helpful. Having our one-on-one sessions, I felt like an added level of accountability where like you were there asking me the questions and I don't want to say forcing, but like gently guiding me in the direction that I needed to go. And I loved that you held me accountable to celebrate my small wins. That has been something that I'd never done before. Very, very easy for me to minimize the little things that I accomplish. But taking the time each session to say, okay, this is what we did, and this is how I'm going to celebrate that, even if my answer was the same every time, has been such a good like shift for me to realize like it's okay to be excited about the small things, like getting through the day and only being a little bit angry, or I'm waking up and I can make breakfast, lunch, and dinner and not struggle. Like that is a win and that's cool. Oh, I'm so emotional about it.
Yeah, yeah, it's okay. It's something to be emotional about it. This was really, really holding you back in so many
Yeah.
ways, like the basic life things that you were trying to do, especially for your family, you were struggling. And now to be able to say, I can just move through my
Yeah.
day, that is, it's so exciting. And really in a short period of time that you were able to see those results. We worked together for 3 months. But to be able to talk now, we last spoke in January, was your last session, the end of January, and it's now April. So
Mhm.
it's been a few months.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit, anything to share that's happened since, any
Yeah.
updates?
Not a ton of like big movement, but I'm still just on the same pathways, tracking symptoms, still seeing like a drastic reduction in symptoms. I think that it is easy to think, okay, I'm whole and healed. I finished this course. I'm done with my coaching. But that for me at least it is a lifestyle change. Thinking about meal prepping, what I'm eating, when I'm eating it, looking at my cycle, and just continuing to do that because I know that it is beneficial to me.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
continuing to celebrate, because there were so many times when we're on these
Yes.
calls, especially mothers, we always feel like, well, I didn't do anything.
Mhm.
And then we zoom out and I'm like, really, Lauren, did you not do anything? And you list this like mile long list of things you've been doing. Um, and so I hope you've been keeping that, so keeping up
Yes,
with that celebration as well.
I have. That has been very nice.
It's so key. It's so key. So is there anything else you want to share with the community? There are a lot of so many people out there suffering with these symptoms, feeling like I tried
Mhm.
everything, or there's nothing else out there because I did the birth control, I did the, antidepressants, or just feeling stuck, feeling hopeless. And you have lived this experience in so many different realms, come through,
Mhm.
kind of experience the transformation with it. Is there any insights that you can share? Anything you want to say to someone?
Um, yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I would just say that even if you feel at your end of the rope, like there is hope. It might not be overnight. You are not going to wake up tomorrow and feel like a whole new person, but if you are willing to try and celebrate yourself, there you can hopefully feel better. I would recommend your course to anybody, even somebody who's not experiencing PMDD, but just your like meet your menstrual cycle course was so informative about my body, things that I never learned, like never knew. And I think that everybody could benefit from that.
Yeah, that base reproductive health education, such a
Yeah.
key place to start. Well, could I read some of your quotes from our last session and then just see if they still ring true, or how
Sure.
you're feeling about them now? Because
Yeah.
some of these are really amazing. One of them, the biggest one, I think, is you said, I've experienced zero suicidal ideation in that
I
last.
can still say that.
You could still say
I can
that.
still I can still say that. And that just is like amazing. Like 17 gold stars. I feel like so wonderful to be able to say that.
So incredible. And it didn't magically happen. You worked
No. Yeah.
hard to learn to reduce that symptom, from different angles. We really worked on that. But the fact that you did that, I mean, we think we're going to live with that forever until we don't.
I
Um,
truly, truly thought I was going to live like that forever. I really did. And so it's ah, so exciting to know that I'm not.
I mean, just what the hangover from that. specifically wanting to die and how that plays out relationally, just and
Yeah.
then the guilt, the pressure, the exhaustion of fighting against that, the fact that that just no more of that.
Mhm.
Like you can just move through your life so much easier without that weight on you. Something else you said was everything is less intense.
Also true. I I I'm a very deeply feeling person, so I think I will always have a wide range of emotion and feeling, but it doesn't feel it feels I had moments of what felt like I was out of control, like I had no grasp on my reaction and my feeling, my emotion and my responses. And I don't feel that way. I feel I can still touch each feeling instead of it just being around me, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's not consuming you, it's not ruling you.
Mhm.
You can
Yeah.
experience the sensations without being kind of taken over by them. And then something else you said was, I'm not reaching a level 10 of rage.
I still can say that as well. Maybe a 9.5, but again, it's not this feeling of being out of control.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and two young children can take you to a 10 pretty quick,
It could
regardless of your
it could take you
cycle.
there.
Oh my goodness, this is so exciting, Lauren. Well, thank you for taking the time to come and share your story to raise hope for others who are going through this, especially young mothers grappling all of the things and feeling just kind of like there's no way out. You're proof of
Yeah.
the fact that that's not true. We can find ways forward and it's not easy. Hey, you put in the work, you showed up, you got
Put in the
vulnerable.
work.
But it's still months later holding true. This wasn't just kind of a
Mhm.
quick fix. This is a really transformational part of your life moving forward, it's sounding like.
Yeah. Yes, I have been reminded that I am worth the time to take care of myself because when I take care of myself, I am more present and I can be a better partner and parent.
So exciting. And maybe homeschooling is on the
And
docket.
maybe a small homeschool where I am looking at the options and curriculums. And I think in the fall we will go forward and be a homeschool family, which is so exciting to
Ah, I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry.
see.
I really want to cry though. This is such a big deal.
It is. It feels exciting.
It's so exciting. And not just for you, that's the thing, right? Like, yes, we want to feel better, but the impact that you're going to be able to have on the people's lives around you, the way that you're going to be able to show up, the way that you're going to be able to set goals and move towards them is totally different now because you've proved yourself that you can seemingly disappear this cyclical suicidal ideation, which sounds fake or like some kind of
Yeah.
magic trick, but you
Yeah.
did that for yourself. Like you're here saying that I'm tracking the symptoms, it's not showing up. If you can do that, like I'm honestly asking Lauren, like like what can you not do?
You know, you do ask the tough questions, Jess.
Please
You
tell
do
me
ask.
something. I
I
can't
don't
think of
know.
anything. Like that is miraculous and incredible. And you really did that. Yes, we were working together, we were a team, but you were making the changes. You were being true to what you wanted to try and working collaboratively with me to bring these changes to fruition. And I
Mhm.
think that's what a collaborative approach, working with a practitioner who takes that type of approach is so important because I can give you a protocol all day. If it's not going to work for you because of your life, your schedule, the situation, it's not going to work for you.
Yeah.
So we really worked together to find things that were going to work for you and then
Yeah.
slowly build on those. And in 3 months, you were coming out saying those things. And that's
Yeah.
great, like amazing. But the even better part is that it's long lasting.
Yeah. Yeah. That's one thing that I loved about coaching is that if I was like, I can't make that work. Do you have another idea? You were there with like 15 other things that you're like, okay, let's pick what can we try. That was you, this course and your coaching has changed my life, has changed my family's life, and I am so, so, so grateful and thankful for you.
Oh, Lauren. I just fall so in love with my clients, it's like something brings us together and it
Yeah.
really is a deep and meaningful relationship. And to see you thriving in this way is makes everything worth it for me. All of the years of my own suffering, like absolutely worth it
Yeah.
to be able to sit here with you and hear your story and see you being such an outstanding mama to those children. So thank you. Thank you for trusting me and showing up and sharing your story.
Thank you for guiding me on my way.
Awesome. Okay, well, I can't wait to share this with
Yeah.
everyone. And gonna go ahead and stop the recording here.